I see on Facebook all the time, someone will send a note and say, well, we have 30 friends in common, but we don't have 30 friends in common. Those are 30 people who are too nice to say no to no one knows who's going around adding people. So like, I think the problem with that app is Twitter and Facebook are not real indicators of who your real life relationships are. And so they're not real indicators with who you want to meet at a party.
I tend to agree with you. I know that some of the people I'm friends with on Facebook that get invited to events, I actually won't go to the event because I know that they're there.
Yeah, so not a good sign for Sonar.
We've got one person where we're just like, no, not going to go there.
It's Arrington, isn't it?
Well, Arrington hasn't even accepted my friend request, so apparently I'm that person for Arrington.
I only knew that we were friends on Facebook because the other night he checked us both in at the Hustler Strip Club, which we weren't at.
How am I sure of it? I'm not friends with you either. You've got like 15,000 friends.
The thing is, I actually have too many requests because I don't know how I know people. I can't manage them. So recent people I've met in the last couple of months, I'm not even friends with on Facebook. Like there's some other way they've got to solve the authentication. There's some other way they have to, maybe they could look at the interactions between you and those people. Do you reply them a lot? Do you interact with them on Facebook? Like maybe there's some sort of engagement that can show that like Alexia really is my friend versus this guy who's a PR person who I added to be nice. Like there's got to be something like that to make Sonar useful.
Well, you can't actually check. I mean, if you're going to check levels like best friend, PR person, person who's mildly annoying at parties, unbearable, girl I hate. Like,
right.
Then you get into kind of social stratification that might not. That data isn't necessarily data you want people having. You want other people having that are humans and might leak it. Or like imagine if that database leaked. Then you'd know that like I hate you, for example.
Well, but I do know you hate me because I heard about it the other night. But there's got to be some way of measuring, like not necessarily the negative, but the positive. So say if maybe there's a Foursquare layer where like maybe say you and I are checking in every night at the same party. They know we must be good friends versus just Facebook friends. Like maybe there's sort of a more positive way for them to be able to, I don't know, but there has to be something. Otherwise it's not going to be useful because there's a lot of people who are just like obsessive Facebook networkers who go in and add every single person in Silicon Valley. I mean, it's the same problem with the clout score, right? It's like, how do you determine someone who's just a Twitter whore who gets retweeted all the time has higher clout? I think they're going to run into a similar problem.
Maybe it's like a social layer tree. Like you've got your Facebook at the core, and then you've got your Foursquare check-ins, and then you've got your Twitter, and then you've got your Instagram. And so based on the relationships between all of those services, you can kind of figure out who hangs out with who.
Exactly. There's got to be some metadata, some cross-platform metadata in there somewhere. But it's interesting because I think this company and how it does will really expose sort of the Achilles heel of social media, which is that people don't really use the sites the way they're intended because of this social pressure to add everyone. I mean, that was something that irritated Mark Zuckerberg in the early days of Facebook of like, well, when the newsfeed launched, people were like, well, I don't want all these people knowing what I've been doing. And Mark was like, but you should only be adding your friends and people you know, but that's not how users interact.
Well, I mean, people in general want to be, it's a social thing. It's like, I want to cooperate with as many people as possible. I want to be popular. I want to have
well,
this
just
many.
feel bad. Someone asks, do you want to be my friend? I don't know. I say no all the time, but I'm used to people hating me. So, I think that's the Achilles heel with Sonar, but I do think they were a solid company, and I think they're one of the best ones we've seen today.
You should check out this gnome thing. Okay, this is the most bizarre. This wins in the bizarre category for geolocation. I know none of you can see it, but...
Okay, tell us in a nutshell about...
Okay, Hamui, he's taking
Non-stop
off of Amelie, and you're taking a picture with a camera of something, and then you insert the gnome.
Oh, so it's a virtual always with you gnome.
You insert a gnome in the picture, and then you can trade your gnome with someone else's gnome in a picture. It's really the Amelie philosophy, and then you can track where the gnome has gone. So
it's a gnome without the hassle of carrying around the gnome.
A gnome, yeah. It's amazing. I don't think there's a business model to this. I'm pretty sure. I mean, it might get like $40 million knowing how we're going.
Well, I think someone said they've already raised $2 million.
Okay.
But I mean, Omar is an amazing entrepreneur. He's sort of done this before. He's definitely sort of the experienced one of this crew. So I think probably people give him the benefit of the doubt. But it's interesting. This is sort of spun out of Churn Labs, which is, you know, kind of not an incubator, not an investor, but one of these development labs we're seeing, similar to what Kevin Rose is doing with Milk. What do you think of that whole strategy?
I think it's lead gen. I think you get people, you get customers, and you get people excited with these, what are essentially games.
Right.
And then, like, once you're ready to develop like a more serious app, once you're ready to develop something that can actually make money, you've already got a user base that's excited about your product, that loves you, like that's imprinted on your brand, and that is psyched to try out the new thing that you're putting out.
Right.
Producing.
I bet Paul Carr hates this gnome thing.
I'm sure.
Because he always hates that. He thinks Instagram is a gimmick and that it makes your photos look older. I can only imagine he thinks this is even, now you're putting a gnome in the photos.
He's like the anti-twee.
Yeah, no, he is.
What's next, gnomes? Gnomes?
I don't get this. All right, so we have 3 more companies to talk about.
All right.
Charisma, probably the weakest presentation we saw. Just unfortunately was not a great demo. It was very hard to understand what the company does. In a nutshell, it seems to be sort of a location-aware messaging platform. And, you know, it fits into this category of sort of these people around you social networks. And, you know, Chris Dixon said on the panel, he's seen, you know, 5 or 6 of these guys. And, you know, I gotta say, I am not the demographic for this. I do not want people around me coming up to talk to me. I mean, I want something like Sonar, where it's an entrepreneur who I want to pitch me, where there's some qualification. But, like, I just, as a woman, I don't want other ways that scammy guys can come up to me. And he was saying there's not really any filtering, like that's the chat roulette problem. You are younger and hipper than I. You're not 6 months pregnant. You're more the demographic for me than this. Do you want a social network where people in proximity can message you and come talk to you? A chat roulette in real life where they're all around you?
Hell no. Hell to the no. I hate phone calls. B, this already happened. It was called Face Roulette, and it was shut down by Apple like within 2 weeks of its existence. I'm surprised this thing even got through Disrupt. And forgive me if I'm talking out of my ass, but like, who wants this? There's no use case. There's no problem that this solves. I've never been walking down the street and thought, wow, I wish some random stranger would just call right now.
Well, we always see these pitches, and we always see them for men. And the use case is always, I know who to go hit on a board. I've never seen a woman say they want more points of friction taken out for people to come hit on them in a bar.
I'd rather, as a woman, I'd rather see something like Sonar, where it's like, oh, here's this interesting person I can go strike.
You know what, the thing that I did really like about Sonar is that you send someone a tweet and you say, hey, we know these people in common, I'm over here, do you want to talk? It's not about pointing out the person and doing something as invasive as a video call. I mean, I have a feeling it was not a very well done demo, and that was part of the problem. I mean, I think there's more to this company that somehow didn't come across on stage.
I mean, they can iterate. It is Silicon Valley. They might come back and be a group messaging app or something. They can try again, but they didn't succeed this time.
Yeah. So,
Arrived. What does Arrived do?
You seem to have not liked Arrived.
No. It's not that I don't like Arrived. It's just the soft plans things. For me, a soft plan means sending a text. Yo, Sarah, I'm going to be in the mission between 2 and 4. If you're doing something, text me.
Yeah.
Why do we need an app for this? Do you know?
I don't know. And I mean, I got to say, I had the same problem in the previous panel with Wiata. You know, I mean, Lena and I were talking about it, and I just said, you know, I don't think there's anything too wrong with a guy having to actually figure out where he wants to take you on a date. Like, I don't think we need the friction points taken out of that. Okay, last one I talk about real quick, and then we've got one of the panelists from the panel who can jump in and give us some of her thoughts in just a minute. We're shocking our producer and doing this on the fly, so someone will mic her up while we talk about this. But Last one is Spot On. Now, this did not get a warm reaction, but I thought it was actually very good.
I thought it was kind of cool too, just because I like the pixel rating. I like that you could rate your Foursquare check-ins.
Right.
I liked, and it has a chicken and egg problem, which is I don't know how many people are going to actually join Spot On so you can see who on Spot On is doing stuff. But I liked the recommendations based on what your friends were doing. I liked how they pulled in from the APIs of all these other social services. The interface, other than the pixel, which was sweet.
I thought the interface was great. I thought the interface was great, and I thought, this is the thing. We all get obsessed with oh, how much noise is there, but like, I have to say, everyday people that I've talked to, people have said, you know what problem I want to be solved? And they've exactly solved this problem of, I'm standing right here, how do I know there's a coffee shop nearby that only my friends like? I don't care about Yelp, I don't care who's checking in. And there isn't a mainstream app that is solving that thing yet. Now, problem is, there's obviously a reason why. There's obviously a reason why, because I'm sure people have tried to do it. So there's big barriers. It's the chicken and egg thing.
If Facebook gets into it,
yeah, you could get squashed
screwed,
like a bug. The other thing that was not clear to me about Spot On is they seem to rely quite heavily on Foursquare's APIs. Do you have to be on Foursquare to use it? That seems a pretty limiting thing, given Foursquare can run you out of the business. But I thought the use case was good. I like the filters. I like they had personalized categories. Like they know, say, I never eat sushi, so they don't put sushi on there for me. They know this friend of mine, that this friend is, so they kind of had what Sonar doesn't have, where it's like, okay, I like this guy, but he's wrong on everything, so let's de-weight him. I thought it was good execution, at least from the demo side. And I think they didn't get as much love as they should have.